Rex Tillerson was an unusual choice for Secretary of State. He had no experience as a diplomat. Instead, he spent his career first as an engineer, rising through the ranks, eventually becoming the CEO for energy giant Exxon. He was controversial because in that job, he was awarded a high honor by Russian President Vladimir Putin, and that became an issue as he looked to the Senate for confirmation.
Is Vladimir Putin a war criminal?
I would not use that term.
No. He got more no votes than any other Secretary of State in the country's history, but he was confirmed and quickly set out to reassure a nervous department.
Hi, I'm the new guy.
Tillerson's first goal, find out how to shrink the State Department and Foreign Aid Agency, launching a survey to figure out where cuts could be made, which departments streamlined. He said until it was done, most top positions would not be filled, an unheard-of move in Washington. And he seemed to embrace a proposed cut of almost 30% to the department's budget. But it turned out his biggest challenge, trying to be on the same page as his boss. During the GCC crisis, he called for an end to the blockade, only to have President Donald Trump contradict him just about an hour later. His first attempt at shuttle diplomacy failed to move the GCC crisis to resolution. And when it came to North Korea, he once again seemed out of step. While Tillerson expressed hope that the crisis could be handled diplomatically, his boss promised fire and fury.
They will be met with fire, fury, and frankly, power.
And the discord continued. When Tillerson announced the U.S. was speaking directly to North Korean officials, the president tweeted that Tillerson was wasting his time, writing, "Save your energy, Rex. We'll do what has to be done." But the clearest break came after the president seemed to equate white supremacists with the protesters fighting back against their message of bigotry in Charlottesville, Virginia. Asked about it on a talk show, Tillerson gave this unprecedented response from a cabinet secretary.
I don't believe anyone doubts the American people's values or the commitment of the American government or the government's agencies to advancing those values and defending those values.
And the president's values?
The president speaks for himself, Chris.
Are you separating yourself from that, sir?
His relationship with the president became even more tense when Tillerson had to speak out after reports emerged he had called Trump a moron and that he had to be talked out of quitting, which led Trump to challenge his own Secretary of State to an IQ test. P.J. Crowley worked in government for 30 years. He says Tillerson's leaving sends the wrong message to the world.
If a Secretary of State leaves barely, less than a year on the job, that will communicate significant turmoil to the rest of the world, and that that will add to the concerns that the world has about the direction of American foreign policy.
A foreign policy that Tillerson tried to set, even if President Trump often got in his way. Patty Culhane, Al Jazeera, Washington.